Hi everyone, good evening. Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Anurag. Ajay, sorry, Ajay. Of course, why would we not love you in class? Did we not love you last time? Oh, I hope you were loved, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Because last time probably I think there was a setting issue where I had to click a love for everybody. I think probably now it's solved. You can see Joshi. Yeah, hi. Hello. Yeah, just wait for 5 more minutes, 5-10 minutes, then we get started. Right. Hi Ram Prasad. Hello. Hi Rudra. Hi. Hi Shaikh. Um, First session in this course? No, it's not the first session. The previous week had the first 3 sessions. So again, I'll explain the basics of. Oh, good. This is your first session. Fine. I'll explain the basics of what these sessions are about and how you can leverage them. Right. So let's just wait for some more time in case anybody new is joining. They should also be able to um, understand what's going on. Right. So let's just wait for 5 more minutes and then we'll begin. Right. I hope you don't have a problem with waiting. Hi Subramanyam. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Um, yeah, Veera, that's a good question. So I've also been thinking. So the objective of these classes is to discuss assignment questions, meaning the previous year's assignment questions. But probably I think that would be something that you can do by yourselves as well. So I thought I could supplement your knowledge with some extra information this week. But of course, primarily we'll be going through the questions, and probably I'll try to take you into some practical aspects of cybersecurity where you can perform some things online. So let's see if we can do that. But this course is primarily a theoretical course. So we'll try to stick to it as much as possible. But in case there are any practical experiments that could be done, probably I can show you how things are done. Right. But today there is nothing practical. So it's yet to come, I think, in the future classes. Right. Oh yes, Khushbu, I'm from IIT Hyderabad. Are you from there as well, or? Okay, so let's begin. I'll give my introduction again for the people who are joining for the first time in these sessions, and I'll explain the structure of how these sessions happen and what you can expect from them, and how you can leverage them if you want to, in order to expand your knowledge about cybersecurity as a whole. Right. So, okay, you're from Chennai. Good, thanks. Um, so, uh, so these are extra sessions, live sessions that you'll have interacting with PhD scholars from across India, right? So I am a PhD scholar primarily, and I'm also a Prime Minister's Research Fellow recipient. So as a PMRF recipient, we are obliged. Yeah. Okay. So as a PMRF recipient, we are obliged to share our knowledge with the community, and this initiative is a part of. I mean, so this live session is a part of that initiative, where we try to supplement the knowledge of what is being taught in the NPTEL courses with our own experiences and our own understanding of the subject. So again, the course you've taken is cybersecurity and privacy. Some of you might be taking the exam for this course, and some of you might not be taking the exam for this course. So for those of you who are taking the exam, probably the questions will help you in trying to answer the final exam. So again, for this course or for any NPTEL course, you will have such live interactive sessions. So for cybersecurity and privacy, you have these sessions on Friday evening and Saturday afternoon and Saturday night, right? So there are 3 different sessions, and all the 3 different sessions are administered by 3 different PMRFs, right? I am one of those, and I think the other one is Gayatri Priyadarshini from IIT Gandhinagar, and the other one is Riya Malik. You are free to choose any of these, or you're free to choose none of these, or you're free to choose all of these. You can attend these sessions online when it's happening, or you can attend these sessions at your own convenience by looking at the recorded versions, right? So you all must have been shared a sheet, and in the sheet we will put the link of the recorded video, which you can go and take a look when you have the time. You can watch it in 2x speed in case you want to speed things up, right? So hi Ajinkya, hello. Again, this is the format. So we have these 3 sessions that will happen, and today is actually the second week. So this is the second session that's happening. Okay. With that, any logistical questions do you have, or we can move on? We can move on and move ahead. Oh yeah, of course, there is no video. You should be able to see a slide with NPTEL, right? Okay, I don't have the previous IT experience, but working in OT. What is OT? I'm sorry. Operation training.
Yeah, it's operation technology, sir. It's operation technology.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
like
industry. Okay. Oh, industrial. Okay. I still don't understand OT properly, but okay. So which means you've worked with computers, right? You've worked with computers.
It's about PLC, DCS, and SCADA, sir. It is about PLCs, programmable logical controllers, distributed control systems, and SCADA.
Okay. That makes it a little bit better. Of course, SCADA systems and security, I'm not sure. I don't know if this course is going to benefit you, but you can be the judge of that by taking a look at this course, or you can send a message to the professor himself. I think Professor Thomas Matthews is going to have an interactive session with all of you on 5th, right? I think that's going to happen. This question is better directed to an expert like himself. Okay. How to prepare for final exam, any reference book or any material. Look at the assignment questions that we give, as well as the extra questions that some of the other PMRFs will give you. Regarding books, references, probably I think I'll have to get back to you on that. Okay. Oh, you're able to see the screen, everybody, with the live interactive session. Are you able to see that it is changing right now? Yeah. Oh yes. Right. Okay. Okay, I think Achinkya has to do something. So to whom this course will be a benefit? Okay. So see, this course is looking at security in a very holistic manner. So if you want to understand the basics of security, the absolute basics of security, and apply it to your domain, like I think yours is OT, right? And probably yes, if that's the direction you're looking at it, then it will help you. I'm talking to Ram Prasad. But other than that, I don't think I qualify to answer any further on this topic, because my understanding of SCADA systems and OT is very limited. So I don't know is the answer actually. Okay. Right, so everybody see the screen. So there's a ritual that I'll be doing every time. So before we get into this week's sessions, this week's topic, I'll just go through the questions. So just to understand, just to give you a feel of what you would be, what kind of questions you can expect. Right. So what term describes the quality or state? I'm not going to answer these questions right now. It'll be towards the end. Okay. What term describes the quality or state of ownership or control of information? Okay. Okay. Is it confidentiality? Is it possession? Is it authenticity? Is it integrity? Okay, let's see what it is. So all these are terms, right? So the Mecklenburg cube has dash dimensions with dash cells. So all of this is directly from the video. If you had watched the previous week's video, this would probably be very familiar to you, right? Okay. And dash is a weakness or fault in a system or protection mechanism that opens it to an attack or damage. So what is it that creates a weakness or a fault in the system? Does it? Let's take a look at it. Which of the following is not a component of an organization's information system? Is it software? Is it vendors? Is it people? Is it government? Is it ISPs? Let's see. True or false? The person responsible for the storage, maintenance, and protection of information is the data custodian. I don't know. Let's see. And biometric data collected from users is used for what process? So biometrics is what, it's basically what you do when you go to your college or your workplace, where you put a thumb and then you say, yes, I'm there, right? So what is it used for in the context of security? Right? So these are all some terms that will always be associated with security. If you know these terms, then you can understand the aspects of security easily when you go into details of it, if at all you choose this path in the future. So what is the CIA triad? I think last week also we spoke about CIA, but we didn't explain what CIA was. Confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Right? So what is the CIA triad and why is it so important? Okay. And of course, this is a match the following wala thing. So let's look at it towards the end. We'll spend very less time on this. So who are responsible for the security and use of a particular set of information? So who are responsible? Let's see. Is it true or false? If information has a state of being genuine or original and is not a fabrication, it has the characteristics of authenticity. Is it true or is it false? Let's see. Not sure. Okay, so I just rushed through these questions because today's agenda is slightly different. Let me just share the actual PPT that we're going to look at today. Just give me a moment.
Sir, I don't see these questions in assignment 2. Assignment 2 is entirely what you have shown.
Yeah, of course, because we won't be discussing the answers for the questions of that particular week. This is last year's question, sir.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so it'll be in the same model. If they're giving you the answers, then what's the point of asking the students to answer, right? So that's why those questions are for you to answer and get it right, right? Okay, so I thought probably we could take a look at some more, I think, more practical view at, I think, what cybersecurity is, right? Not exactly cybersecurity. This is going more towards the internet. But I hope this will add some value to what you're studying, or you're able to connect this with what you're reading through the week. Because you see, what you learn through the week is there in the videos that Professor Matthews is doing every week, right? So I think repeating that might not be the most ideal thing for me to do. So I thought we'll just try to do something new. Okay. So these slides that I'm presenting are taken from ETH Zurich. So this is one of the topmost institutions in the world when it comes to network systems and security also, I think. So these are slides from there. I didn't prepare. I mean, I've taken some of the slides from there. Right? So just fair disclosure, okay, before we start. Okay, so what is the internet? So we're talking about security, right? Cyber security. Last week we saw what does it mean to have this word cyber added to security. So anything that comes into computing or into anything to do with the internet, it is a thing called cybersecurity in a broad way. It's cyber. Cyber means anything that's related to computers. And now computers don't work alone. They don't work standalone. You don't have a system that just works. Every computer in today's world is connected to something called the internet, right? So of course, the internet is an exciting place, right? It is an exciting place because most of us, what we do on the internet, we watch videos and we play games, right? That's a very exciting place. It's not. And look at the total number of internet connected devices in 2020. Mind you, this is not the total number of people using internet. This is the total number of internet connected devices. This total number of devices. So one person might have 3-4 devices, right? And all of these devices are connected to the internet in 2020. Can you guess in 2020? Okay. In 2023, the number raised from 22 billion to 30 billion. So can you look at the magnitude of the increase? And by the way, a billion is how many zeros? Can anybody say?
No, sir, but 50% increase only.
50%?
9 zeros.
9 zeros, right? So look at the number. I asked because I don't know. I know it's a very big number.
11.
So it's 9 zeros. 11. Okay, I think in terms of the Indian metric system, right? I think it's crores. How many crores is a billion? Let me just get the information for that. That'll be a better way. Okay, thank you, Ajinkya and Ganesh. Thanks. 100 crores or 10 crores? Okay, what is the correct answer?
100
10
crores.
crores.
10. Okay, everybody's saying 2 answers. Now let's find the correct answer. This is how many crores in a billion, right? Okay, so it is 100 crores. So it's 100 crores. So if you look at it, there were 2,200 crores of devices in 2020, and in 3 years' time, it increased by 700 crores. So look at yeah, it's 100. Show me exactly. A billion is equal to 100. Thank you. So it has increased in such an exponential fashion, right? If you draw a graph like this, okay, you draw a graph like this, and then if you put the number of devices here, and this is the time or the year, right? So in 2022, in 2020 it was year, and probably it would have been like this, but then just like that, it's an increase like this, and it is projected to increase further like this, because everybody's having 3-4 phones. Nobody's letting go of things, right? We have a tablet, we have a phone, we have now the next addition is IoT, right? Internet of Things. Internet of Things is nothing but devices that connect to the internet. A prime example of that is what your Amazon Echo, right? So that is an internet enabled IoT device. So every house is having more and more devices. So the reason I'm stressing upon this is the fact that in the future, the more such devices increase, the more such internet-enabled devices, let's say, the more they increase, the more the attack surface area increases. Okay. So the reason is, we'll talk about these particular concepts later. When I say attack surface area, I mean you have 10 different devices. So an attacker can choose from 10 different devices and try to attack one of those instead of just one, right? And the more companies come, the more kind of devices they build, the more you have a choice of attacking, and the more you'll have to protect as well. So that's pretty much why security is given a high priority in today's world, especially if you see the Digital India initiative and how much we Indians are using the internet of late. Security is going to be a major pivotal factor, because data breaches, they can do a lot of harm. Okay, so this is basically how the trajectory of devices growing up. And what is this again? 4 exabytes. So this is the daily global IP traffic in 2017. So where does exabyte come again? Can anybody answer? How many GB is equal to 1 exabyte? Let's all search and find out. And how many TB in an exabyte? One billion GB is there in 1 exabyte. So we just saw what was a billion, right? It's 100 crores. Okay, and this is how many? Oh, that's actually 1 billion GB. Yeah, what would you put? Okay, so the answer is 1 billion gigabytes. So again, so we saw what a billion was. Now you can put it in the context here. Okay, there are 4 billion GBs, you can say, right, in 2017. And this is the traffic. And what I say, what we mean by IP traffic is you have the internet, right? And then you have your computer, your phone, everything. It is the data that is being transferred from point A to point B. So that is exactly, Ashmat, correct. It's 10 to the power 9 GB, which is 1 billion. So you have the data that's getting transferred, right? The volume of that data is 4 exabytes. And do you know how much this has increased in recent years? So, but yeah, okay, again, so this is basically a funny comparison. I didn't make this comparison, but somebody else did. So if you take this cup is equal to 1 gigabyte, then this cup is equal to 1 gigabyte. Okay, imagine. Now the volume of the Great Wall of China is equal to 1 exabyte. So you can imagine this wall is huge, right? So we've all heard of it. So that is how much it is more than 1 GB. And you know how much we can store in 1 GB? I think a lot. Not videos or games, then you can store a lot in 1 GB. You can store so many text files in 1 GB. But imagine. So this is just to give a scale of how big 1 exabyte is. So this is the level of, or the scale of traffic that is being transferred in the internet from point A to point B at any point. I mean, in a range of time, you can say. So that should put into scale as to how much importance has gone into building these systems and making sure that these systems work. So every time you go to your phone and you press something, and then you're getting some answer from some random server setting somewhere else. You have to appreciate the engineering that has gone inside and the research work that has gone inside in building these systems that work flawlessly day in and day out, right? And again, just because they work does not mean they are secure. So security comes as an altogether different out of syllabus question for this. Since now that I've built it, how do I secure it? Because there are always people looking to disrupt this transfer of information. So again, so in 2022, it increased to 13 exabytes. So how many years has passed? 18, 19, 20, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 5 years has passed, but how much has it increased? The number of the data, it is increased by 9. Correct. So for 5 years, it's increasing by 9. So it's basically not a linear relationship. It is a slightly exponential growth, let's say. So that's how it's going. And of course, this comes as a no surprise to all of us. 75% of all internet traffic is video traffic. This has no particular relevance. I'm just putting it out there. It was interesting information, so I thought I should put it out and discuss it just like that, just to give context of what it is that you'll apply, what you're learning to. And 82%. So this increased from 75 to 82. So I think as the years pass by, more and more people are shifting to entertainment on the internet. So we have all these apps that like TikTok or whatever, all this YouTube, everything. You have so many entertainment aspects of the internet. In fact, that's what it's mostly used for, the internet. So it's video, right? So now coming to the other aspect of the internet, okay? So the internet is also a very, very tense place. So previously we saw the internet as an exciting place because you see you have so many things to do. You have to play games online, you can do so many things. But the internet is what? Okay. Is it scratching now? Ajinkya, can you hear me? Or is it clear now?
Yes, sir, it's audible.
Okay. Yeah, probably I think that's exactly what's happening. Okay, fine. Try to stay still. Okay. So the internet is also, and if you want me to go slow, let me know, because I might speed up my talk, so I'll make it slower if anybody is not able to follow along. Okay. So the internet is also a very tense place, right? So we saw that it was an exciting place before. Now we have to understand, as with all the excitement comes tension. So let's see how or what things have happened in the internet with internet. So many countries, right, they get disconnected for political reasons. So Myanmar was a country. Sorry, it is still a country. It's a country where, in order to take over the country, you have the military who disrupted the internet. So I'm not going into the details of why this happened, whether it's right or wrong. Just letting you know the importance of this word internet. Right? It has pervaded every aspect of our life, such that for something like this to happen, you tend to go and cut off the internet, because that basically means nobody can talk to each other. So that's pretty much the impact that the internet has had on our lives. And in conjunction with that, that is pretty much the importance that security of the internet as a whole will also have on everybody's lives. Okay. So again, the Belarus. So it was it's a country, and it has shut down the internet amid a controversial election. So again, if you don't want freedom of speech, then probably it happens. Sometimes it is required, sometimes it's not. We don't know what is right or what is wrong. We're not going into that right now. But yeah, this has happened. Again, internet is amid all of this. Just look at this part. Don't look at the other aspects of this. Okay. And look at this funny thing. So Algeria and Iraq, they have shut down internet nationwide to stop students cheating in exams. I mean, when I saw this, the question that I had in mind was, how can students cheat in exams? I mean, is there anybody who's already using the internet to cheat in exams? I don't think so. But anyway, I think as a precaution, they would have taken it. But if in case people are using the internet to cheat, then I wonder how they do it. It's not right, but I wonder how they do it. I am curious, actually. Okay, so just as a precautionary measure, they shut down the internet. So yeah, 2016, everywhere, all the countries around the world have shut down the internet for various reasons. And here is something that Russia did. So Russia wanted to see how they will fare if their internet is cut out. So what they did, they said no internet for everyone. So let's see how the country is as an exercise. So just to make sure that if something like this happens, that the country does not fall. Okay. And just in connection with this, there is a movie called Die Hard 4.0. I don't know who seen this movie, but that gives you a very exaggerated scale, although, of what happens if the information systems or the internet gets cut to a particular country. Um, okay, again, Iraq does this. So it does it for economical reasons as well. We're not going to go too deep into this. Okay, this will come at a later point of time. Okay. So the internet infrastructures are also targeted by large-scale DDoS attacks. So you have these attacks called denial of service attacks, distributed denial of service attacks, and this also happens. Okay. And the internet was also a very vital place during the pandemic. I think I'll take that later. But the internet is an insecure place as well. So now that we saw that the internet is having so much impact on everyday world, it is also having a lot of insecurity in it. You can say it's like it's too good to be true if it is happening flawlessly, right? So there has to be something wrong with it, and this is what is wrong with it. It's actually it's not. It is secure, but it is not as secure as people think as well. So what is the cybersecurity? You've actually gone through the videos, and I think you'd be having a fair idea of what cybersecurity is. So cybersecurity, it refers to the practice of protecting computer systems, networks, and digital information that is, from theft, damage, unauthorized access, or any other form of cyber threats. Okay, so it's basically securing our cyber assets. You can say it like that. There are multiple domains of this cybersecurity. You have cyber forensics, you have cryptography, you have steganography, you have binary exploitation, but these are all going too deep into it, so please don't consider this. This is just ignore it. Okay. Right. So let's look at some case studies of what happened. This will be more interesting. Let's look at some case studies of some data breaches that have occurred all through the years. And I think in this week's video, you would have heard about the Target's data breach. So Target is a company in the US. It's a supermarket chain, and their network was breached. How it was breached and how it was done, it was a beautiful discussion in the class. You can watch the NPTEL videos for that. Here we'll talk about it very lightly. Okay, just give me. Right. So Equifax is one of the major credit agencies, and it suffered something called a data breach. So what is this data breach? Data breach is nothing but when someone breaks into a secure network and steals information without the authorization of the agency or the authorization of the owners of that information. So pretty much 144 million individuals and their SSNs and names, everything was exposed. Right? Now you might ask, what is the big deal if my name is out there, my Aadhaar number? Imagine social security number is your Aadhaar number. Okay. Okay, why is this not working? Okay. Your social security number is like your Aadhaar number, but in the US, birth dates, everything. So why is this huge? Why is this important? So I can find some reasons for it off the top of my head. I'll just tell you those. If you find any other reasons why or how these reasons as to why it is a scary scenario, you're free to chat and you can let me know. So, so imagine if there is someone whose name is in this data breach, right? Probably now you know some aspects of that private information which you can use to social engineer and attack them. So what is this social engineering? We'll see all that later. Right, identity theft is also something exactly. So you pretty much know the details of someone, almost all of his private information and details, right? So you can always go and act like you are that person. You can impersonate him, like Ajay said. That's called identity theft. And in fact, that is a major problem because you have people who are like, as an equivalent example, you have people who are getting SIM cards in the name of others. For example, if you go to a Xerox shop and if you say, give me a Xerox of my Aadhaar card, he'll probably maintain a copy of it and then he'll obtain a SIM card with your Aadhaar card. That is an identity theft, correct? So you need further authentication as well. Probably you have biometric, but some places they don't ask for that. So that's a major flaw. Just an equivalent uh, comparison. So the reason for this, your WhatsApp was hacked about 6 months back. How was your WhatsApp hacked? I'm just curious. Just type or I can speak also. We can talk about it. I wonder how it was hijacked. I mean, probably we can say it was hijacked. Okay, by the types, I think I'll continue. Using an older phone. So you used an older phone and you had not removed WhatsApp from it, and you had given that phone to somebody else. Okay, but still we don't know how they got access to it. But yeah, we can talk about it. Okay, so a flaw, basically, how do these attackers gain access to the database of Equifax? How is the question? Sometimes the attacker has to walk directly there and gain the access. So this is basically something to do with physical security. But sometimes the software that is running here, sorry, this is software, okay? It's not nobody. This is software that is running there to extract information from this database has a flaw. And this is called a vulnerability. So this hacker can exploit this vulnerability and gain access to things that he is not supposed to access. So one such software that had access to the database, you can say, is the Java struts framework, which is a part of the Apache suite, I believe. So these are softwares that are used to build Java-based web applications. So once this flaw was discovered, it basically can allow anybody who know how to exploit this particular vulnerability to take advantage of it. So there is something called HTTP requests, which does this, but I don't want to go into the details of those things. Okay, so essentially, there was the point. The takeaway from this is there was a vulnerability, and that vulnerability was exploited. So as an attacker, the attacker might try to induce a vulnerability, or he might exploit an existing vulnerability. Okay, these are two things that the attacker possibly tries to do. And why does he do it? In order to gain access to something that is not supposed to do, or in order to modify something that is not supposed to modify, thereby compromising its integrity. Okay. Okay. So this was target data breach. This was discussed in today's class, right? Not today, sorry. This week's class. So it had something to do with the HVAC vendor's credentials. So basically, what happened here was, I'll just explain in a nutshell. The outcome of this attack was that many private data, which is personally identifiable information. So this is the technical term for it. This is basically your Aadhaar number, your birth date, your name, your phone number, all that, etc. Phone numbers, addresses, and email addresses. Almost 70 million customers are stolen. Okay, so there is in the US, right? Especially, you have specific teams and well structured organizations for doing certain things. Like, so because if in India, if you want something to be done, you call an AC mechanic and you get your AC fixed if something is wrong with your AC. But for a bigger organization, right, a huge godown, let's say, you need to have a, a bigger size team to take care of some of these aspects for your AC, your ventilation, and all of that. Your heating, there you have heating as well. Here also we do have such teams. Nothing is not there, but in the US it's more structured and more nuanced, let's say. And the point is, these people who came to basically clean the ACs, let's say, they had access to the target's network. So let's draw it here. This is the target, correct? And this is secure. There is security around it. Okay, let's say secure. Now an attacker is trying to get inside, but he's not able to get inside because it's secure. I'm just being very abstract right now. But on the other hand, you have this HVAC people. Okay? Let's not call it HVAC. Let's call it air conditioner mechanic to make it simple. So he's able to walk here, and he's able to say, "Please let me in," and he's being let in right now. So what happened? All the attacker had to do was compromise this fellow. When I say this fellow, his credentials, and use the credentials to enter the secure layer. That's it. And that was one of the contributing factors. And their POS machines were compromised, and data was collected and leaked and all that. But yeah, probably you can take a look at the details of it later. Right? And now there was one more instance where the Sony, I think Sony Pictures Entertainment, it suffered a cyber attack. Right? So this was during that era of fear, where I think North Korean leader, I think he was made fun of in a movie, I believe. I don't know the name of the movie, but the West had created a movie that was mocking the leader of that country, and they were not happy about it. And the movie was scheduled to release at a particular point of time. So they were protesting, but day by day, I mean, North Korea was protesting, but protesting to not release this film. But of course, it was created with the intent of being released, right? So obviously, they didn't pay heed to it, and then North Korea said, "Okay, let me show you by force." So essentially, the hackers sitting in North Korea, they used spear phishing techniques. Phishing. We saw what phishing was last time. And spear phishing probably would have been explained by Ria Malik, I think, in one of the PPTs. So spear phishing is when you target someone and fish. It's targeted phishing. If somebody does not understand what phishing is, please let me know. I'll explain again. Okay. So the attackers used spear phishing emails to trick the employees into revealing their login credentials. Hello? Yeah. Okay, yeah, sure. I'll explain. Sir, let see nahi join कर सकते हैं क्या? What is this? कौन join करना है? Like, okay, if you can explain, you can explain that, Anurag. Yeah, I can explain phishing in a nutshell, but okay. CE, what is CE? Okay, I'll let you explain. So phishing, right? Uh-huh. Some what CE is? Okay, fine. So phishing. What is this phishing? It's not. So essentially, what is the usual meaning of phishing? You go to a pond. Oh, okay. You want the difference between phishing and spear phishing. Okay. All right. Essentially, phishing is. Oh, and also both. Okay. Okay. Right. How do you erase the marks on it? Okay. So essentially, the original meaning of phishing is FISHING. FISHING is you go to a pond, you put your fishing rod in it, and somebody comes and catches that rod, and then you get a fish, basically, right? Essentially, you're putting out something, and somebody from somewhere comes, bites on that rod, and then the fish is taken for eating, basically. This is the traditional meaning for fishing. But now when it comes to PHISHING, when it comes to phishing, this is called, you can't say it's pissing, but it's phishing. P is silent here, okay? So what happens here is, you have an attacker, okay? I'm going to be very abstract with this. I won't give you the details of what it is, so that we can go and take a look. You have an attacker, and he wants to get some information. What is his objective? What is the attacker objective here? Get information of his friend. Exactly. So get information of his friend. What information is it? That information is something that the friend does not want him to know. Okay, he does not want him to know, but he still wants to get it. Okay, or this could also be, he wants to understand, he wants to get information of a particular information from many people in an organization, let's say. So he wants to get this information. So how does he do it? So the objective is to get information right now. Correct? Objective is to get information. Now, how does he do it? How? And my handwriting is terrible, because I think if I shift to the pad, it'll be better. Okay. Right. So this is the attacker, and he wants to get information of his friend. Right. So how does the attacker do this? The attacker, he sent something to the friend, correct? And the friend trusts him because it has come from someone that he knows, right? So what the friend does, he opens it and he gives it the information, the necessary information. But the friend does not know that whatever is giving in that field that his friend had sent, that this is going to go back to the attacker, right? So in a way, this is spear phishing, where the attacker knows something about the friend and sends something that will attract the friend, and the friend clicks on it, and then you get the data. So basically what happens is they send you a link, and then it'll say something like click here to win something. To win something, and the moment you click on it, you get a page that says please enter your details, your name, your email, and then finally they'll say your password as well. Most probably all of us use the same password everywhere, so that's it, you're gone, you're dead. Okay. So the moment you enter it and then you press click, this information, it goes back to the attack. Okay, so this is basically phishing. So the large difference is spear phishing is when the attacker, the spear phishing is when the attacker uses some personal elements to target someone. So basically, you are targeting a particular individual and using all of your knowledge about that individual to make him fall for it. Because you know what your friend likes, what your friend dislikes. And if you want to compromise that, all you have to do is send him something that will make him click on that link and make him fall for it. So that is what spear phishing. Spear phishing is nothing but targeted phishing. And what is phishing? Phishing happens on a larger scale. Sometimes you get mails that say, click here sorry, your SBI number is blocked, and all of that. So click here to unblock it. These are all phishing because they take you. I mean, it's being sent to a lot of people. Some people might bite, some people might not bite. Right? I must have been a doctor in your previous life. Why? Curious. Okay. So, oh, for the handwriting, I see. Okay. So, okay, funny. So, yeah, I think. Okay, probably I'm writing on a tablet, so it's a bit more slippery. Not to say that my handwriting is very good. So, yeah, I don't mind. Don't worry. Okay, so this is what phishing and spear phishing is. I don't know if I explained it in a way you understood, but let's get back to the task. Okay.
Sir, there is no sound.
On screen comes, sound will also come.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
I think now you can hear. But I can hear myself twice in a moment. I don't know why this happens when I shift between both the screens.
Now you are audible, sir.
I think now I should. Yeah, now I'm audible. Right? It's a first leather. Pratiksha, what do you mean? The first leather. Can you hear me now, by the way?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, good. And you can see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's move on. There's so many things to look at. Oh God. Okay, so and there were some. We'll look at this in later classes also possibly. So there was a Yahoo data breach that happened in 2013, and it went till 16. And yeah, it was a combination of multiple factors. So essentially, when you hear about these data breaches, right? What you have to understand is these things don't happen as how they show in the movies. So what happens in a movie? You have you have uh, you have the attacker, correct, and he's sitting and typing on a computer, right, and probably he'll be jamming the computer like tuck 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 tuck, he'll be just jamming it, and you'll see some complex graphics going on in the screen, right, something will be turning, twisting left and right, left and right, left and right, left and right, and then finally they'll say yes, hacked. So 99.9% of hackings don't happen like that. So you look at combination of factors. You keep searching for vulnerabilities. It takes a lot of time. You try multiple variants of the inputs and see how the response is. Basically, you do a lot of work before you can get into a system. So if everybody can jam their hands into a keyboard and hack some existing system, then nothing is secure in the world. So saying that nothing is secure is not really an accurate description of the current status, because the world is running, the world hasn't died yet. So things are secure as long as someone has not found a vulnerability in that particular system. um, okay, so right, there was also another company called SolarWinds. It was also hacked, and there was a meatpacking cybersecurity attack, and of course the famous Facebook data leak. We'll look at these things later. Okay, so um,
सेब दे दो, एक और दे दो सेब काट के।
1 second. Right. Okay. Right. So now we saw some. You're able to see the screen, right? Yes, I think. Yeah. So now we are at a place where we can start talking about some security concepts. So whatever we spoke about right now is basically the motivation to learn security and why security is important. Although we didn't talk about all the case studies, we spoke about some of them, and you saw some others as well. We didn't talk about it in much detail. We'll do that probably if we have time in the next classes. So you have all of these real world systems that are working perfectly, getting hacked into. And how are these people hacking into these things? They use a combination of vulnerabilities. So things like okay, this person is going into this building right now. I'll go and be a friend with him. I'll find out things about him, and probably I can use his credentials to get him. And this is what was done in Target. Or there was one more instance called Stuxnet, where people who wanted to get into a centrifuge facility, a nuclear facility, right, of a country, what they did, they used a pen drive and they loaded it with software that runs the moment you install it, the moment you put it into a computer, and they kept this pen drive somewhere on the road where the employee walks through. So what do people do when they see a pen drive lying on the road? It's like a free pen drive, and that's pretty much what he did. It doesn't matter how rich a person is, they get something free, they're gonna take it, right? Pretty much that's human mentality. So this beautiful person, he takes it, he goes to his nuclear facility, and he inserts it, and that was the end of things. So it compromised the whole place, and the centrifuge was down. I think this happened against Iran, and this was perpetrated by the US. It's called Stuxnet, right? So these are all some uh, case studies, you can say. You can always find more case studies. So Stuxnet, Stuxnet. Okay. So, but then before going into all of these, what are the basic security concepts, and how do they connect with real world, right? But before to connect with real world, you know what these concepts are, and probably you've learned some of these as well. But let's look at it. So what is this security problem? So security basically means it could either happen due to a lot of buggy software. So you have people writing software, and the software might have some inherent bugs in it, and that could cause this problem. Okay, and you can also social engineer. So in a very beautiful nutshell, if you want to write something, it's the art of manipulating people to give up confidential information. Yeah, this is basically what social engineering is. And internet infrastructures can also be targeted by large scale attacks. So this is DDoS attacks. So we'll go into these things later, but just understand that there is a security problem. So once again, social engineering. So phishing is a form of social engineering. Again, phishing we spoke about. So what does the attacker do? He performs a reconnaissance. Reconnaissance is understanding the subject. He says okay, I want to find out what my target likes and dislikes. So the user, he receives an email with a PDF title, PDF file that is supposed to be from a hospital supplier. So basically, he is working as a doctor, let's say, and because it's a hospital supplier, the email is from hospital supplier, meaning he thinks it's from hospital supplier. He opens the file, he downloads the attached file, and he opens it. The moment he opens it, it executes a malware that essentially is going to steal pretty much everything on his computer and send it to the user. Right. So this is basically uh, one way in which you can make these people click on the files that you send them. Okay. And this is you can't say this is exactly phishing, but you can say this is a social engineering form of it. And phishing is pretty much when you ask people to enter details of their own violation. Okay, so we have to the user clicks on it instead of a PDF file, it's a form. Imagine. So that's basically phishing in its bare bones level. Okay, so these are some kind of text messages that you might get to make you fall for it. Okay, 1 second. In February 2018, GitHub. So how many of you here know GitHub? Anybody has used GitHub?
Yes, I do.
Oh, nice. Okay, good. So, oh, nice. Okay. So probably people in the industry right now might know what GitHub is. BTech students, maybe some people yes, some people know. But usually it's a portal where you can collaborate and keep multiple versions of the code. Okay? It's basically used for collaborative development. So it was targeted by a huge DDoS attack. Okay? And so this is an example for an attack on internet infrastructure. So what is DDoS attack? So it is when multiple attack nodes target a single place. Okay? So this is what happened. So essentially how these multiple nodes are created, this attackers go and compromise a device and they keep them in the form of botnets. Again, I'm giving details which I might not need to, but I'm just telling it for your reference. When you read about these things in the future, you might remember. Okay? So if you don't understand also, it's fine. So you have multiple botnets that are built, attackers botnets, and the moment the attacker presses a button, say attack, all these botnets will send traffic to one particular place. And what happens when you send more traffic than one place can handle? It will stop servicing people. It will stop being available for people. And that's what happened here. A DDoS attack targets the availability of a service. And that's pretty much what happened. And this is the traffic that was sent, the extent of traffic that was sent to attack GitHub, right? And then in 2020, Amazon was also targeted, and then Microsoft, and this keep going. So, okay, what is the objective of DDoS attack? Good question, actually. So why do I why do I want? So what is the objective? Why do I want to target an organization and attack them using so much of my resources? One of the first things is it is motivated by spite. Spite in the sense you are having an ideological difference with the organization and you want to get back at them. So this is one way. And secondly, the major motivation is when you attack someone like this, their service becomes unavailable. Correct? When their service becomes unavailable, okay. When their service becomes unavailable, or it is being made down as what someone just answered, right? Yeah. Nikash said server down or crash, exactly. Um, so when it becomes unavailable, what happens? They start losing revenue. This has a connection to the business model of the world also right now. So they start losing revenue. God, they start losing revenue. So once they start losing revenue, company panics and then they say, whoever you are, what do you want? Just stop attacking us. It's a way of cyber extortion, or it's a way of making a statement. For example, when you can say, I'm just giving examples, not specifically saying that this country is bad or good. When let's say country A hates country B. So what country A will do? Country A will say, I'm going to attack the train booking system of this country. Let's say some country A hates India. So they'll do DDoS on the IRCTC website. Imagine if something goes, loss of revenue is a pinpointed answer exactly. So imagine IRCTC goes down. So ideologically, country A also won, saying, look, we've troubled you, and then made them lose revenue as well. And if country is not able to recover from this, they'll probably go and fall on the feet of the attackers. So that's pretty much what happens. That's the idea of DDoS. Okay. Okay. So so this was something that was explained in, it's a service like Cloudflare able to bypass DDoS attacks. Yeah, it's actually a good point. So what Ajinkya thinks that Ajinkya, right? Yeah. So Ajinkya, what he's saying is there are services like Cloudflare which help you in bypassing DDoS attacks. So it's not exactly that you stop the attack from happening. So what Cloudflare does is what is Cloudflare? Let's say. So Cloudflare. So it is a company. Okay, I'm talking about DDoS. DDoS is distributed denial of service attacks, and how it helps solve the problem of DDoS. So you have this company, and what it does is it says it calls, or rather it's basically a company that says, you give me your website, I will handle your website, but you pay me some extra money for that. If a DDoS attack happens, I'll make sure that your website is still accessible. That's the key point. So what Cloudflare does is, even if an attack happens, they will make sure that your website is still accessible. So how do they do that? They have multiple mechanisms of doing that, but essentially how they counter this problem is to have CDNs, or is to have multiple sources of the same data. So if you have, if you have your website here in one place, another place, another place, this is in the internet. Okay, let's say like this, like this, like this. If the attacker is hitting this point, then Cloudflare will switch the primary server to this and say, I'll serve data from here. So the attacker is thinking he's attacking the right place, but no, he's not. In fact, he is, but the system recovers from there. So still able to solve it. So this is how Cloudflare generally does DDoS, but it's not like they can stop the traffic. They can to some extent, but not accurately. It's just that they move it from point A to point B, or they give more resources to an extent where even if an attacker is sending, let's say, 10 Gbps traffic, then I'll give so much more bandwidth that this 10 Gbps is not going to make it unavailable. So these are all techniques that Cloudflare does to make it available. But again, nobody can stop someone from recruiting a bot of our botnet and attacking, right? Nobody can do that, and that's unfortunately how it is. Okay, so okay. So this model was explained. So there is Alice, and there is Bob, and there is a channel, right? So this is Alice is the sender, this is the receiver, right? But there is someone in between called Trudy. This is the word. The names are coming from one of the pivotal textbooks for this. But so the person is Trudy. So this Trudy can either listen to what is being sent from here to there, or she can send messages in this channel impersonating the other person. Right? Yeah, it is a man in the middle, exactly. Shaikh Mohammed. Yeah, this is a man in the middle. Okay, this topic. This is just a very general. This one, right? This is this man in the middle, wala. Okay. Okay. MITM, right? Right. So this is, let's say, what's your name? Hiranmoy. This is H-I-R-A-N. This is Hiran. Okay. So this is you, and this is your friend. Your friend's name is Bob, and you want to send message. Right? Forget that this person exists. Okay, he's not even there. And this person, and you're able to send messages from A to B, like this. Through what are you sending some message? You need to use something called a channel. Correct? A channel is nothing but a medium on which you can send messages. So now, if you ask me, what is the channel on which your computer is sending internet traffic? What is the channel? It is your Ethernet cable, right? The cable that goes from your modem. That is the channel. But if I ask, what is the channel on which your phone is sending information? What is the channel? There it is, air. Correct. This is the channel, and data propagates on a channel. Correct. So when I say air, it is not actually exactly air. It is the electromagnetic spectrum, but you can just say that's the channel. Free space is the channel there. So you have a channel, and then you have data that is passing left and right in a channel. Now imagine if there is someone called Trudy, and this person is present right now. This person has access to reading whatever is going in this channel. So it's equivalent of somebody going, cutting the wire, and adding two more pieces like this that make the traffic go like this, so that the data will also come to the person who wants to be in the middle, and it'll go to the person that's intended to. It will also go to the person for whom the data was intended to, which is Bob. But the point of the problem here is this Trudy can do two things. One is she can listen to whatever is being sent by Alice and whatever is being received from Bob. Okay, you can basically look at what is being sent and what is being received. What is the conversation that's happening? You can be the nosy next door neighbor, who's very interested in what's happening in somebody else's life. So that's pretty much what Trudy can do. But it's not just that. See, Trudy can also capture data and keep it with her, but send her own data, making it look like it came from Hiran. So this is essentially a man in the middle. In the middle, okay. This is MITM, man in the middle. Okay. This is just a security model based on which you evaluate some cryptographic algorithms, but that's okay. Okay. So you have what are all the real life Alice and Bob. So here we spoke about Alice and Bob, right? So in real life, meaning in our context, who are these Alices and who are these Bobs? So a web browser. So is it going to be Alice or is it going to be Bob? Okay, what is the difference between man in the middle attack and spyware? Right. Essentially, the objective of a spyware is to spy on someone, right? So in that sense, a man in the middle can also spy on someone. So there is a similarity there. But a spyware is something that completely goes and affects the person sitting here. So a spyware operates from here. Okay, sorry, my mouse is not working. Hold on. So spyware sits over here and then sends data to the attacker. Okay. So the spyware is not in the middle. It's sitting right at the source of the data itself. So in that way, spyware is different. But a spyware cannot send messages of its own. You can't trick the attacker into the target is thinking that the message is coming from the other person, but it's actually from the attacker. So you can't do that. So spyware is a limited definition here. So it spies on someone, and that software is installed on the target system. Okay. So this is okay. Someone was saying web browser, right? Is it Alice or is it Verb? Okay. I think you're saying it is Alice. Okay. But I'll ask you a question. Let's assume you are in a video call with your friend on Google Meet. You've used Google Meet, right? Yeah. Then your friend is also using a browser. You are also using a browser. So who's Alice here? Yeah, both are Alice's. So essentially, web browser here is an example for Alice or Bob. It could pretty much be anybody, right? So in a way, it is a very context dependent what do you call definition. So Alice and Bob could be anybody who's sending and receiving messages. So a banking server or a client. In this case, in this context, you can say it is Bob, and you'll be right. But you can also say it's Alice because the server also sends messages. So you don't have to be very specific here. It's like something that are two different endpoints. Endpoints. So DNS servers, routers, and all these things. Okay, these are all advanced. So real life Trudy. So what it is that a bad person can do. So a lot of things that a Trudy can do. So who was Trudy? Trudy was the person sitting in the middle, right? Trudy. So what are all the things that this Trudy can do? Trudy can eavesdrop. What does eavesdrop? They can intercept the message. They can read what is said, and then they can actively insert messages into the connection, which is basically they're basically inserting messages and making it think like it's coming from somebody else. So when you insert something like this, you can basically impersonate someone. When I say impersonate someone, I mean you can say that it is I can say I'm Hiranmoy, but I'm not. But the other person will believe that I'm Hiranmoy, basically. So that is impersonation, and then hijack is taking over, but not exactly in the context of it. So it's okay. Denial of service is by stopping messages from going completely altogether, where you just stop it from happening. So the service is denied. Correct. So these are things that Trudy can do. And now coming to the fundamental triangle of security, it's called the CIA triad. So you have confidentiality, you have integrity, and you have availability. Okay, so let's talk about this. So what is confidentiality? Confidential is a word that you would have heard from multiple places. So in a nutshell, as a nutshell definition, confidentiality it ensures what? Hello. Okay.
Hello,
Hello. Yeah.
sir. In confidentiality will be not means will be unauthorized will be not read or not access the data in confidentiality.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you're right. So you have data, and only some people are allowed to see that data. Okay. So some people who are authorized. Yeah, exactly. Some people who are authorized. So when we talk about these aspects, we'll talk about it with respect to those specific terms. So you have to note down this word, authorized. Correct? Only authorized people should be able to see that message. So this is essentially confidentiality. So for example, if okay, this is the only example I'm getting in my mind. I don't know if I'm getting the example. Okay. Okay, let's say a person A has written a letter to person B. Okay. The only person who is authorized to read that data is the person B, because that letter is confidential. If somebody else reads it in between, then it will be trouble for either both of them, let's say. So this is basically confidentiality. Integrity. Okay. So now you have A and then you have B. A is sending data. All right. This is an interesting aspect. Now this data is high. Okay. Ideally, the data that should be received by B is high. Okay. But what if instead of high, B receives by? The whole meaning changes, right? The whole context changes. A is trying to say hi, but yeah, Shivam, exactly. It's the keeping of
Sir, it is modified in the data.
yeah, modified in data. No, it's modified in
That
transit, or okay,
message text,
okay.
yes,
Yeah,
sender sends the
exactly,
message.
exactly. Good. So integrity. So integrity is someone who is okay. Integrity is you're integral. You're honest. Let's say. Now this message hi has been modified to by somewhere by an attacker. Okay, I don't know how they did it. Let's not worry about it, but it has been modified. So now, how does B know that A wanted to send by? B has received a message claiming to be from A, saying by. But now B should be sure of it, right? That the message that was sent by A is exactly what was received. Correct? Should have been received as hi, but what was received was by. So this is basically an easy way to understand integrity. That is, we should ensure the security systems should basically ensure that the data has not been changed by any unauthorized entities. Meaning the data that was sent is exactly what was received. Nothing, it has not changed. So this data should have some kind of a fingerprint or something that uniquely identifies it to A, and that fingerprint cannot be replaced. Is the premise. So this all comes into the other aspects of cryptography, but let's not go there. Okay. So this is integrity. So availability. We're talking about availability, right? What is the attack that stops something from being available? We just spoke about it. What is the attack? It is DDoS, or denial of service attack. Correct. So, okay. So just some more information on confidentiality. Just read through it, then I'll talk about it. Okay. The property that data is not disclosed to system entities unless they have been authorized to know the data. Okay, this is just a slightly complicated definition of what was previously given. Okay, I think this is better. A breach of confidentiality means that someone gains access to information who should not have access to it. Now, in the context of network security, okay, only sender and the intended receiver should understand the message and its contents. Now the sender encrypts the message and the receiver decrypts the message. Okay. So what's the difference between confidentiality and privacy? So privacy assures that individuals control or influence what information related to them may be collected and stored. and by whom and to whom that information may be disclosed. Now, I can understand this, but can you understand this? If not, let me know. So maybe I'll paraphrase the same thing. Privacy is about ensuring that something of yours does not go out that you don't want to go out. So that is privacy. But confidentiality is making sure that the data is not accessible by people who are not supposed to access it. Okay, this is slight difference here. I mean, there's a big difference actually. So if you've not understood it, you can ask me. Okay, so confidentiality and privacy. We saw privacy today. So, okay. What's the time? I think I have to go to the questions. Okay. Integrity, the property that data has not been changed, destroyed, or lost in an unauthorized or accidental manner. In the context of network security, yeah, by the way, I spoke about changed last time over here. I spoke about changed, but the data could also be destroyed or it can also be lost. That is also, in a way, destroying the integrity of the data. So in the context of network security, which is what I was explaining, sender and receiver, they want to ensure that the message is not altered in transit without detection. Okay? So this is a in the context of network security, you can just try to link this with actual scenarios, right? And it also means ensuring information non-repudiation. Okay, leave this, forget it, it's okay. Authentication ensures that you are really talking to whom you are talking to. Okay, let's just I don't want to confuse you with non-repudiation. Okay, so next, availability. So we saw CI, confidentiality, and then integrity, and then availability. So the property of a system or a system resource to being accessible and usable upon demand by an unauthorized system entity, according to perform. It's very complicated definition. Okay, a service should be available. It's as simple as that. Keep it like that. Okay. So we'll also look at what vulnerability is. A vulnerability is a flaw in a software, firmware, hardware, or a service component resulting from a weakness that can be exploited. And what does a vulnerability do? What does vulnerability do? It compromises on something about CIA. Okay. It can have a negative impact on the confidentiality also, or integrity, or the availability of something. So now you see how the CIA triad is linked to the other security concepts. So vulnerability affects CIA of something, of a system. Okay. So not every vulnerability results in an attack, and not every attack succeeds. Of course, you have so many people finding flaws, but not all the flaws in the software are exploited. Some of them are left out also. So okay, I think we should move on now. I'll just go to the questions. This is pretty much it. We'll just quickly discuss the questions and we'll end today's class. Just 1 second. No, hold on. I'll just discuss the questions. So this is the end of the theory part of the class. Now just answer questions. But you're free to leave. Again, once again, I'm saying this is completely optional. You don't have to worry about not attending. Nobody is going to judge you based on whether you're attending it or not. Okay, you're not going to get extra marks for attending. Again, so it's. Oh, you're able to see the screen? 1 second. Oh, you're not able to write. Right, now you should be able to. So now, so which term describes the quality or state of ownership or control of information? So what is the term that specifies this. Is it confidentiality? Is it integrity? Is it authenticity? Or is it possession? See, they're talking about quality or a state of ownership.
Sir, option A.
Okay, okay. Why option A? Can you give
Sir,
your?
So actually, it is saying that the ownership of control, I mean, it's a information that says that.
Okay, so the answer to this is B. It's none of what you studied here. Okay, it's not A, it's not C, it's not D. It is B. Okay, so that's pretty much what is the funny thing here. See, you're talking about the state of ownership or control of information. So this is nothing to do with the. In a way, I can understand why you have associated confidentiality, authenticity, or integrity with it. In a way, yes, you are also right. In the sense that you can talk about the authenticity of the information. That is always there. But here they're talking in a very broad sense. So the answer here is B. I don't think you'll be asked such questions, so don't worry too much. All right. So if you had gone through, yeah, exactly. So if you have gone through the Macumber cube, it's nothing but a cube that is, yeah, exactly. I think you're right. So you have this formal method of defining security that's called the Macumber cube, and there is a CIA. This is the CIA triad. Okay, and then you have 3 more properties here. And what are these properties? If anybody has read the or rather gone through the videos of this week, you would have understood. You would have seen this. This is called
Management,
storage,
storage,
Storage, processing, and transmission.
Good. And then there's a third
Processing.
dimension as well: policy,
It's people,
education,
policy,
and technology.
education, and technology.
Exactly. Good. Nice. So these are the 3 aspects based on which Macumber, he's a person actually, he wrote up. I think he came up with this concept of trying to describe the impact of CIA and storage, processing, and transmission, and policy, education, and technology on, and they basically enumerate the relationship between all these terms. So it came up to be a 3-dimensional graph. So the point here to notice, there is 3 here, 3 here, and 3 here. Correct. So so what is it going to be? They have what are the dimensions? The dimensions are 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3 dimensions with how many cells? So 3 into 3 into 3 is 27. Correct. So it's D. Okay. How is it? How is it C? It's not C. It is D. Okay. Because you see, in a 3-dimensional cube, what would it be like? It'll be 27 cubes. You'll come up with 27 cubes like this. I'm probably destroying the screen right now. Okay, yeah, let's move on. So what is a weakness or a fault in a system or protection mechanism that opens it to attack or damage? Yes, this is very simple, right? Vulnerability.
Vulnerabilities.
B.
In a way, you can say risk also, but the more apt term here is vulnerability. Okay. Okay. So which of the following is not a component of an organization's information system? So an organization, it's a very it's a very
Vendor.
okay. They're asking which of these are not a part of an organization's information system. So yes, a vendor is right. This is not a part of
Yes.
the organization information system. So you're right. Anything else? Yes. Government is also not a part of it. ISP is also not a part of it. So the software and the people. So this is basically coming from a
So I have a doubt.
definition-based approach. Yeah.
But if the organization is governed with the government policies, where we have to set our organization policies in sync to the government norms, then government become a part of it. But it is not directly it is a partial part of it.
Exactly. So we're talking
When
about
I say
information system. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I understand. See, these things have relationships with each other. These things affect each other. In fact, the government affects the vendors in a lot of ways. In fact, you can say that the government is a part of every system then, if that's the definition you're coming from, right? So even if the organization is a government organization, the organization's information system as a definition is only looking at the software and the people associated with that information system. That's it, right? Got that? Or are you
Yes.
still not convinced? Okay. Fine. So the context or the direction with the lens with which you look at the question, right? That's going to define the way you're going to get the answer. And sometimes it's a bit tricky as well. So it's not that straightforward. Okay. So true or false, the person responsible for the storage, maintenance, and protection of information is a data custodian. So these are all following from definitions. So the data custodian is the person who is tasked with the storage, maintenance, and protection. So the answer is true. Biometric data collected from from users is used for dash process. So biometric data. So what is biometric data? You give your fingerprints or your facial recognition data, right? These phones
Face
have it.
recognize.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. So these are all biometric data. Why biometric? Why bio? Because it's associated with your life aspects. It's the biological aspect of yours. Correct? So what is it used for? It is used for authentication. It's a very simple thing. So basically, yeah. So you authenticate yourself saying that you are allowed to enter a particular place which is secure. How do you authenticate yourself? You say that, okay, I am the person that I claim to be. I am the authentic person. So if my name is Harish, then I need to claim that I am authentic, right? I am the person who is Harish. So how do I do that? I give them a proof that Harish has a fingerprint with 10 lines. So I also have a fingerprint with 10 lines. So that is me. And that's pretty much how authentication happens. So this is A. The answer is A. Okay, let's move on now. So again, we spoke about CIA. What is
Sir, what is difference between authorization and
okay, so authentication and authorization, right? So see, authentication is when you identify that a person is the person that he says he is. Okay, when you can confirm that you are you. Authorization is when you are authorized to access a part of the organization or a part of the information. So just because you're authenticated does not mean you're authorized to go everywhere in that place. Correct? There are buildings and rooms in your own institution where you're not allowed to go. Right? So that is authorization. You can be authenticated, but you might not be authorized to view something. So that is authorization and authentication. Okay. Could you understand? Okay, I am assuming you understood. So
Sir,
let's
in
move on.
an easy way, I can say we are a friends.
Yeah.
We share information. That
Mhm.
is like I authenticate that the second person point B is my friend, and I'm sharing
Mhm.
that information thinking that he is a friend. But that person who is friend is not authorized to share my information to anyone else because I have not given the right to share my information. So that is one is
Yeah, okay.
authorization and other is one is authentication that the other person is a friend who is deemed to be a friend, but he is not authorized to share the information which
Yeah,
I'm
in
sharing.
a context, yes, you're right in a particular context, in the saying that you have given permission for someone to do something, to perform an action. You've authorized someone to do an action. But in cryptographic terms, right, probably authorization is more the lines of you being allowed to be in a place where you're allowed to, where you're not allowed to be, basically. So yeah, in a way, yes, that is also there. But I prefer
That
this
is a layman
definition
language and
more
that
than
is
that.
like the technical language.
Oh yeah, okay, fine. But I still have a question about the context, because you're allowing someone to do something, some particular action.
No, I'm
But
not
yes,
allowing. I told someone some information that I am going to do so and so thing, but I am not allowing the other person to disclose it to the other person and spread it in a fire, like a fire of a forest.
Okay, like
right?
a wildfire. Okay, yeah, exactly, fine. Yeah, in a way, actually, you're right, because you are authorizing someone to do something, take a particular action. Yes, I understand. Okay, yeah, concluded. You're right. Okay, next. Select the right options for the CIA triad. Let's not look at all these things. Let's just see which is true and which is false. Okay. So what is true? What is false?
1 and 2.
1 and 2. True.
2.
True. False. Right. Assurance that information is shared only among authorized people or organizations. Yes. Assurance that information is complete and uncorrupted, and assurance that information systems and the necessary data are not available for use when needed. So that is not what CIA does, right? So this is true to false. Okay, now moving on to match the following. This is you can take a screenshot of this. You can try and answer this by yourself. Essentially, you have to read through this first, and then you'll have to answer. Okay, just start reading. A is 5. B is 4. C is 3. P is 2. E is 1. Okay. Probably due to lack of time, I'll have to end the session early. So you can just take a screenshot of this, and you can. It's pretty self-explanatory actually. So this is from a different perspective, all right? So you can just take a screenshot of this. You can. And who are all responsible for the security and use of particular set of information? So
Data owner.
Particular data.
Data owner.
No, it's the custodian. We saw previously, right? Custodian of. Second, then we saw custodian somewhere. So the person responsible for storage, maintenance, and protection of information is the data custodian. Correct. Protection of information. So can you see this? This information is nothing but a particular set of information, and who's responsible for its protection or security? The data custodian. Answer is C. It's coming from a previous question. And finally, true or false? If information has a state of being genuine or yeah, sure, please go ahead.
No, if it's domain, can you give me answer for eighth question? Options for eighth one?
What? True. Yeah, this is true. You want answers for each question? I thought I was just saying it.
Yeah, just the options.
Yeah, this is C.
Eighth one, match.
Oh, okay. A5, B4,
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
C3, E2, E1. And finally, if information has a state of being genuine or original, it's not a fabrication.
Sir, wait, I want to take a screenshot. Hello, sir.
Okay, sure.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, sure. Probably, I think the people who are taking the sessions tomorrow, they might explain the questions a bit better. But today, my intention was not to look at the questions only. It was to provide some extra additional information to what was taught in the class to add more context. Okay, for security. All right then. So we'll push off now. I'm leaving the screen. We can probably address the questions in the next meeting as well, right? So Okay, then have a good evening. Bye bye. See you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sure, sure.
Thank you, sir.